Lynn, we do have a number of questions, and so we'll transition now to this portion of our program. The first question, I think, is a great segue, actually. The question is, your Adopt a Project example is impressive. How did you gain buy-in to allow employees to share beyond the corporate firewall?
Yeah, you know what? Some of our employees don't even have access to Facebook. And so we had to be really careful about that. We had to work with our IT department and check a million different places. And we went through a number of business channels as well. We're in a functional unit in brand and communications, and we did have to talk especially to our Canadian banking retail operation. But that took longer than we thought as well for the permission. And then we also had to put kind of a disclaimer on our Facebook fan challenge page saying, yes, we know that some of you don't have access to Facebook at work, so bookmark this, send it to yourself at home, and do it from home. And we know we're not asking you to work at home, but we feel as though this is important enough that you could do it at home. So it was kind of a tricky tippy-toe around kind of a dance on that on the firewall for sure.
Is it something you're looking to entertain again?
Oh, yes.
Oh, that's great.
I feel like we've had a victory, so we need to push forward.
So we have another question, and I'll segue into it. You have 8,500 of your employees who have symbolically adopted a project. Are you looking at other ways of engaging your employees as evangelists?
Yeah, we are. We actually are developing a more informal, but it'll be formalized, I hope, in 2011 and 12, kind of a water champion network where we actually do kind of speaker training and key message training, and we brief them on our overall support for the environment and environmental commitment as well. And that might be with, flying them into Toronto or doing a webcast kind of a thing and give them kind of an outfit that they would wear and help them find opportunities to talk about the RBC Blue Water Project with community groups and get involved with NGOs. We'd like to see more executives being on the boards of our grant recipients, et cetera. So besides online, absolutely. And then there's the regular kind of getting employees involved in the charities by putting on rubber boots and helping clean up and do watershed cleanup, that kind of thing. So yeah, it's a full range of things. This online component is one small sliver of a larger plan.
Engage people online, drive action offline.
Oh, nice said.
Oh, I like that.
I didn't invent that, but it's a good one.
Okay.
We have another question from another Stephen. Is the Blue Water effort linked in any way to local employee volunteerism?
Yeah, we're encouraging. We've got 350 grant recipients to whom we've given money, some $27 million. They've shared all of them. That's a lot in 3 years to find 350 grant recipients. So we're not formally matching up, saying, Shirley Patterson, Brighton, Ontario, here's your local grant recipient, go volunteer with them. But we find that in Canada, especially, our branch employees are really, really eager to get involved, and they will go out and look for those opportunities themselves. So they're connecting the dots themselves. It's almost hard to hold them back sometimes, which is great.
That's fantastic. I have another question that I think I could ask of both you and Stephen. How has the quiz poll facilitated engagement? Do you want to begin, Lynn?
Well, it's one of our primary methods of engagement, I think. A good example is the engagement in developing the tap water or the bottled water policy. I mean, that way, those 2,000 people actually had a hand in determining what our guideline and our policy was going to be. I would say that right now I haven't leveraged well enough those 9,000 or 8,000 people who adopted a project. I didn't leverage them nearly as well as I could have. I should have made a newsletter up and sent it to them, and I should have given them volunteer opportunities. But last year was the first year, right? This year, live and learn. I'll be doing those kind of things because I've got 8,000 keeners. What do I do with them? I didn't do enough or do well enough by them, I don't think. So there's ways to engage them physically, because I think that the adopted project's fun and everything, but it's kind of like, I don't know what the word is, Stephen, it's like collectivism. Is there a word like that, or did I just invent it?
There's definitely a word like that.
Yeah.
Collectivism?
Yeah, where basically people feel like they're actually helping something by clicking a button. They're not helping anything.
No, you're right. Go onto my Facebook page and click here to free someone. It's something that people do the bare minimum, and then they feel like they've done their part.
Yeah.
And it is a danger to let people off the hook at that point.
Yeah.
So you have to have an immediate response. And the nice thing is through the system, you can identify who those people are, and then you can simply have a follow-up and build community in that way.
And so that's TBD, how we're going to build the community and actually activate and energize the community, because right now it's pretty much click and you feel good about it. But you're right, there's more to be done for sure, and we're a company that wants to do more.
Stephen, anything you'd add overall to the overall engagement of quiz polls?
Yeah, the part that I'll add is that, Lynn's giving a really wonderful overview of the Blue Water program, but it's a tactic that is effective and is reusable. So in addition to Blue Water, it's being used also for the pollution probe energy poll. You're involved in children's mental health where you'll be able to introduce this. So it's proven and known that people will engage and will be educated, informed, and it's measurable. So, the nice thing is once you have a tactic, if you can replicate and reuse, makes life easier because everyone doesn't have a massive team. How big your team is.
Yeah, the team's really small, and every tactic takes time, right? Like we're adding now Facebook and social media on top of our .com, our external-facing communications activities, our internal stuff. We've got a regular intranet site, so Facebook is on top of that. Everything has a slightly different tone of voice and manner, and then when you add the polls on top of it, and then you want to think about how to activate the network, it's a lot more layers of work. So that number 5 recommendation of staff up, it's really important. I mean, we don't all have big staffs, or maybe it's just try to do one thing really, really well and leverage it, because I just feel like I've got those 8,000 folks kind of on the hook. Oh, I need to reel them in.
Well, the one thing you did do with the 8,000 people that was an excellent opportunity to leverage them is you introduced the opportunity for them to email someone they know to invite them to participate and post to Facebook.
Yeah.
And, you look at the Facebook posting and you have a multiple of 166, 150,000 people who wouldn't know about this program unless you bought media to get in front of them were made aware of it.
Yeah.
That's pretty
And
effective.
that's really, we're only 3 years into the Blue Water Project, so the idea is you inform, inspire, and then you engage. So we're kind of still in the inform and inspire time, and then engagement we're hoping is going to be coming in the future years. So it leaves us something to do and gives me a job.
We'll help you with that.
Yeah.
That sounds fantastic. We have time, I think, for 2 more questions. I'm going to combine 2 of them. The first is, I think, a great question. We were talking earlier about tactics. Let's now talk about strategy. From Andrew Fiore. Corporate social responsibility is sometimes just pure marketing. What considerations should executives take to create campaigns with real change?
Oh, that's too big for a minute. I think I think you want to make sure that oh God, I don't even know how to answer that. One of the things I will say is try to build the link between what your business is and the campaign is, because I don't know that any of us is making real change if it's not about the area that we're kind of responsible for our business. I guess that the idea of how are you actually engaging real people to do real things and not just clicking things, you would want to make sure that you build that kind of a component or that kind of thinking in. Yeah.
That's great.
I'm sorry, Andrew, I did not do justice to that big question at all. I'd love to have a conversation with you about it. I'm responsible for our overall corporate responsibility communications, a number of other things as well. Interesting topic for maybe even for another day.
Well, that's great. We can connect you offline.
Yeah.
I think the last question is as I say, a combination. From Maureen, why was PollStream selected as the platform of choice for this project? And then from Dennis, what else do you use PollStream for?
Well, funnily enough, I inherited PollStream, the relationship. Actually, our employee communications team was using PollStream for employee engagement for a really cool online newsletter. And I saw it, and I thought, that's kind of cool. So I begged and borrowed a few polls from them and liked what I saw, and then I thought, oh, I must have this for myself. So that's how I found it. And the other question was something very good, which I can't remember.
It was, what else do you use PollStream for?
Oh, well, I actually use it to measure the efficiency and effectiveness of the department to which I belong, our activities, so every year we do an annual corporate citizenship poll of employees. What do you know? What do you need to know? What do you find out? How do you feel about the company? Has RBC's reputation as a good corporate citizen helped you attract or retain business, et cetera, et cetera? We use that then for our performance appraisals and to take around to brag, not to brag, but when we're doing, defending our lives, you all have to defend your budgets and everything. This is actually how we can prove to the businesses that we're offering value to the company. So that kind of a survey, just as a survey of employees, it's so useful for that. I do that every single year, and that's another deck of the many that I drag around and say, look, the work we do really matters, and employees say it matters, and we can't be cutting corporate responsibility communications because employees say they need that kind of information to attract and retain business.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's all the time we have questions for. I'd like to really thank you, Lynn. Hands down, my favorite presentation that we've done thus far. I wish we had more time, and certainly if we haven't got to your question now, we'll be happy to follow up after the fact.